Oris, the creator of the first IIAIDC and the author of IISSIIDIOLOGY, answers the following questions in Munich, Germany, November 30, 2014. The different scenarios of our future. How does the future depend on people's choices to develop society in an intellectual or heartfelt manner? What is the meaning of international information, altruism, and intellect development centers' work? Does IISSIIDIOLOGY have anything to do with religion? The difficulties in translating and adapting Russian language source information in the countries with a different language. The essence of heartfelt and highly sensitive Ayfaar songs and its influence on people. If there is something as imperious and strong as a computer network, does it contribute to human evolution and growth, or reduce the growth rate? People simply change as we evolve. I cannot say unequivocally that it is increasing our abilities. It definitely raises cognitive possibilities, but by increasing something, we lose other things in the process. Here we lose sensuality. Maybe we lose in ethics. Our focus dynamics shift towards a single spiral, a single direction. Let's call it all will, all mind. In other words, mentality or intellect. Within this is a scheme for development, and after a scenario like this, we must move towards a certain scenario of sensuality. Is this really possible? Yes, it is. Let's say that due to a nuclear war or different disasters, the source of the mental impact is destroyed. Then we would naturally switch to sensuality. It might be cosmic radiation or plasma splash from the sun, for example. And then we have to continue our development through sensuality, experiences gained through activation in our genes from our forefathers, and without the old mentality and experience we have already gained. So here I have just described how one civilization transforms to another. There are different scenarios with our different types of development. So why am I here? We have organized an Altruism and Intellect Development Center here in Germany that is in contrast to the mental and intellectual race to ensure that people will not go to robotization and will not turn into some kind of zombie robots. Such unfavorable scenarios are quite possible if you disable sensuality and if you disable emotion, culture, and ethnicity. All of this is synthesized in human ideas. What should my outward perception be of the world around me, and who am I? Most people have rationality, and in general, the collective consciousness of our society has all kinds of mental imbalances, for example, a cynicism in the expediency, and many beautiful, sacred, holy, heartfelt things for us are not valued at all. My aim is to not only write those books, but to also warn people, because I know the danger of putting too much attention towards one thing, such as intellect, and that it threatens our being, and it's what began all those nightmares that frighten us in the first place. Let's look at certain scenarios of the future. The power is captured by artificial intelligence, which serves a handful of fanatics. Everything else, everything that people used to use in their power, like food, manufacturing, communications, internet, as well as other kinds of nets, because the internet is so far the most primitive way of interaction, belong to them. These fanatics are able to use very powerful forces through all of us. They can simply disable anyone, remove any person, or impose what they need. I do not want to get into these kind of scenarios. I do not want to live in a society like this. Similarly, I do not want to live in the society which is past to wild levels, just pastures, wild nature, lack of achievements of the industry, spade, plow, grain. That will lead us to live like our ancestors who lived in the 12th to 13th centuries, and that also does not faze me. The meaning of the centers that I'm organizing around the world, so far in Russia, the Crimea, in Florida, and the first shoots here in Germany, is to combine mental development opportunities as well as possibilities of modern technology, electronic and telepathic connection with the central empathic potential that we all have within our genes. These potentials are gradually being crushed and deactivated and actually being thrown out as an unnecessary component of our existence. Today, it is acceptable to laugh at empathic people. It is accepted to call them losers, and in these centers, we have certain techniques. We have our own way of relationships that take people away from all of that and develop the person in a more harmonious way. Sensuality should be highly sensitive and highly empathic and not just emotional. It shouldn't be just a splash of emotions, but it should also be directed to altruistic interaction, sincere affection, and heartfelt interaction by singing emotional heart songs, for example. Choral singing has very powerful effects on the collective consciousness, generally on a personal perception. At the same time, people learn the knowledge from a prosperous future where this knowledge is available to everyone. Knowledge is widely used by science for very fast, efficient development. Is the impact of religion, which is present in our lives right now, less active, in your opinion? Religion is a source, a catalyst of those defects that every person has, like aggression. Therefore, religion can activate this defect, and if it is ambitions, then religion can activate ambitions. At the same time today, religion provides some sort of support for people who do not pace with this powerful intellectual process that communities is forcing upon them. They try to escape, to go away somewhere. The brain does not perceive in such quantity of information as it is given to them. Some just want to live peacefully, They do not succeed to live quietly, so they just need to refuse everything and everyone. And this is an extreme too. This is an escape to a fairy tale. What religion gives is a fairy tale. People start to believe in those fairy tales because it is clear to them they are too lazy to implement more complex structural interactions in the brain, or they just do not want to do so. At this stage, religion takes people to unfavorable scenarios. Just like mentality, it takes us there where we are bio-robots or somewhere else, or worse. Just like excessive mentality, it takes us to a point where we become bio-robots. Generally, IISSIIDIOLOGY is an anti-religious knowledge because it explains everything as it is. How things appeared, as it happened, how all this happened, how information transformed into something, what we call the surrounding reality, how we formed via a perception system, and the whole dynamics of information through the materialization of different images, through some of our physical effort, and so on. How long has IISSIIDIOLOGY existed? I have been writing it since 2005. Philosophy and physics. Is it somewhere at a crossroad? This is a cosmology, but there is no religion at all. This is, and everything is explained. The basis of the explanation doesn't come from a position stating some experiments are being implemented, but from the position that this information is already available and that it already exists. I take information from my meditations from the future and I tell you in the present how it all looks and how it should be. All of this is taken from the favorable scenarios of our future development. What exists there, what we believe, and what we know about how things happen there. In fact, I am divided. The I, more qualitative, from the future, transmits information to the less qualitative in present. I am trying to make sense of it all by imagining it here, and then I pass the information on paper in more simple words. How many followers do you have? Basically, almost all of the followers are from Russia. This knowledge is transmitted only in Russian, and this is definitely a complex situation. It is impossible to get it in any other foreign language. Now, there are some translations in English. Volume 1 and 10 were translated already, and now it is being translated into German. But the translations are not as effective and much less reliable and valid than the original, due to differences in the understanding of different words. Some words in Russian can convey the depth and deeper levels of some thoughts than some words in other languages. I am provided with translations into German now, and there are only two ways to pass the meaning on one way or another. But in Russian, the same definition may give meaning in various directions. Some translations may be different from what I really mean to say. In the future, those who want to learn this knowledge begin to deeply study the Russian language. A lot of people like this will appear. They just have to do so because by reading the translations, they simply do not understand many of the things. Translators, editors, and proofreaders may know a foreign language, but they could have a weak understanding of Russian, and therefore it is almost impossible for him or her to give and pass my representation of the very essence of the knowledge that I have put forth in explanation. When translating or editing, he or she thinks, "Oh, this is probably so and so," but it is quite a different reality. So, are you the founder and the leader of this knowledge? I am a source. The knowledge is obtained only through meditation. Only by this way, I can go into a certain state of consciousness. Do you take responsibility for the selection of scenarios? Am I right? In principle, yes. What I am doing now is my attempt to tell humanity that if we go this way, there will be collisions like what we have in our existence right now. Even in the existence of a whole civilization, and if we go another way, we will have other consequences. My words are spoken with truth, and it is concrete. The way out of this situation and the exit is to gather people who seek not only self-development in an intellectual way, but also the need to develop their sensuality, for example, emotional sensuality, high sensuality, deep sensuality, soulfulness, and pureness from the heart. There is no normal humanity without all of that. Without this, there will be ugliness, the inevitable ugliness, the intellectual ugliness, or there will be the emotional ugliness, while rejecting all the technological advances and the comfort, because we can still exist having all of this if we remain kind and pure within our hearts. There is no other way besides the middle way, which is intellect and altruism. Altruism is the basis of sincerity, soulfulness, heartfulness, and our centers are just intended to attract those types of people. How does it work? Right now, the basis of the center is in Russian, and we portray IISSIIDIOLOGY as the knowledge that I have described in 11 volumes. I am working on the disclosure right now and structuring the perception of our structure to make it concrete, which will represent itself like how things are changing in our brain, how things are materializing, what facilitates this, what is needed for the process, which subcortical regions and cerebral cortex participate in the process, and how it all interacts. I also write lyrics to 555 songs. These are cover versions of the well-known famous Russian songs of the 20th century, starting Mark Burns, Russian singer of 30th to 50th. His most heartfelt songs until songs of the 19th century and 45 songs of Alla Pugacheva, a very popular Russian singer of the 20th to 21st century. I took the best of those songs and wrote new lyrics. I have enclosed a new spiritual and intellectual meaning. The participants of our centers organized a cover, focal group, and sing these songs. There are a lot of recordings, as these are deeply informative songs. It is almost the same as what I write about in my books, but with a more sensitive accent, with powerful, soulful, heartfelt accents. In these songs, I express simple words, and the words love, light, spirit, and heart are the main words for transmitting the ideas that I write about in my books. When people sing these songs, especially in chorus, I see energy. It creates a powerful stream which has very beautiful, progressive colors that is evolutionary. Does this stream go into the cosmos, or is it distributed among the people? The cosmos is right here where we are now. I mean, in addition, yes. Singing these songs affects not only the people around them, but also those who live on the opposite parts of the world. because it is a space that holds single information. The more fluctuations we create in this space, the more powerful it becomes, and then more resonance will occur within different people. It doesn't matter where the person lives. He or she can be in Iginwa, but we sing in Moscow, or in the Crimea, or here in Germany. This is the basis of the centers. However, at the same time, people in the center study psychology and sociology. Inevitable, there is a need to delve deeper into our knowledge. When you are reading an article, for example, where I am writing about the formation of neural pathways in such an interaction, for example, as a powerful stress, fear, anger, aggression, and why this happens and how they are converted, it is necessary to have some knowledge of medicine. If we talk about the reforms at the DNA or genome level, we are talking about a person that will inevitably roughly understand at least what DNA is, what chromosomes are, and how they interact, and what the results are. As for our parallel existences, an idea comes inevitably. How psychology or philosophy explains this. So there is a surge of self-education in certain areas of development. As soon as something new appears, it becomes necessary to check it out. Maybe I tell lies, maybe I am wrong. A clear inner motivation is needed, a belief in the fact that it is true what you read. We have several people with PhDs in physics and math who are involved in this knowledge, and they have written prefaces of several volumes of the IISSIIDIOLOGY book series. Doctors are also very interested. More and more people are gathering in St. Petersburg, in Moscow, in Kiev, in Crimea, and the main center is in Yalta. Last year, it started in Florida, and this year, here in Germany, Russians are ready to help our people to do more and more. We have vegetable gardens, for example, where 40 to 50 people live and gather together. This study this knowledge and sing songs at the campfire. Taking care of each other creates the relationships that is essential among people in the future, along with an intellectual development and a fact that a person understands its purpose on a deeper level. For example, why do I live here? What for? At least there is an orientation of how we need to be in the future. Yes, we will have extraordinary abilities in the future. But again, the disclosure of our talents occurs on the basis of altruism and intelligence. But unfortunately, it won't happen as quickly as we would like it to, and it is not so easy.